Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It's that time of the week. Midweek Maction is back. Everyone's favorite time of year. It's obnoxiously cold here in Nashville before we get right back up into the 70s later this week. So appreciate the weather chiming in with a little midweek Maction itself down here in the 30s. Uh, Good week last week. Happy to be back. We have another game added to the slate. Last week we only had 4. This week we have 5 midweek. And then we will have a 6th game we'll cover on the regular show. That's on Saturday. So this is a great week for Maction. A lot of matchups here towards the top. A lot of filtering out. We're going to get a better picture of what the MAC championship could look like by the end of this week. So buckle up. Also, a lot of weather we're going to have to deal with. So this might be November or Undervember, whatever is fucking lamer. Undervember, Underember, November. Anyway, yeah, we're going to be leaning towards some unders, tipping the cap there this week. Always, let's clean up last week. 4-2, pretty good showing. We were a Daquan Finn drive away from going 6-0. Would have hit on both aspects. Miami money line plus the over would have hit. Buddy throws a pick about 2 plays into the drive. Game over. Maybe a little foreshadowing to this week. Not quite the same player he once was. But overall, pretty happy with everything that we saw, especially Eastern Michigan getting the job done on Saturday to get us to that 4-2 number instead of splitting 3-3. Akron team total pretty easy. Toledo minus 14.5, pretty easy. Ball State needed a drive to win the game, but they look like the better team and deserve that win. So pushes us up to 19-16 on the year so far. As we can see there, just a salt way. Guess it's not really needed when we have the graphic there. So pretty good. We're trending the right way. As I've mentioned, gave out 3 picks on the show that I've changed on the card. So if you only follow with what you listen to, you're 6 games above 500 there, 22-13. So as we start getting into the latter half of the season, we're going to get a little update here on the season win totals. Every year, give out all of the season win totals for the MAC. A lot of games have started to shake out here, and we've had a good amount of win totals already decided. We cashed Kent State over 1.5 wins. Shout out to Kent State. UMASS comes in on the under last week, under 3.5 wins. Got Eastern Michigan to the under already. Western Michigan hitting their over. Bowling Green hitting their under 6.5. Northern hitting their under 6.5. And then our 2 losers so far, Ball State got over their total. We thought they'd be under. And then, of course, Toledo. Oh, how disappointing Toledo's been. They cannot get over 8.5 wins in the regular season. So we are at currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 6-2 for our win totals, with the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finals still pending. We can have a lot get worked out this week. Akron winning gets us over. Central winning, unfortunately, gets the under dead. If Ohio wins, that under is dead. If Buffalo loses, that over is dead. And then if Miami loses, we need them to win the last 2 games to hit that over for us. So a lot of moving and shaking for the win totals this week. That's just peanuts to what we have in store here. Let's see here. Let's talk about the games, why don't we? Tuesday night, starting tonight, we've got Kent at Akron, the wagon wheel. Rock me, mama. The wagon wheel. Two teams combined for 7 wins on the season. Akron and Kent State, huh? What in tarnation is going on here? Nope, Akron not bowl eligible this year due to academics, but I think it would be a pretty solid fuck you and pretty good recruiting note if this team can get to that 6-win bowl eligibility number. Though, even though they won't be able to represent that, I think that's just a solid win overall for the season. They have a good chance of doing that with BG up next, but they have to take care of their rival first here. Listen, Akron's been playing pretty well. I mean, when we look at, they've won 2 in a row. Uh, we're on the plus side of win share versus Ball State in the game they lost. Hung in with Miami of Ohio, beat Central. So they've won 3 out of their last 5, could be 4. I've been talking about Ben Finley all year. The dude can sling the rock. I mean, obviously has some P4 experience. The only problem is wide receiving core just really isn't there for any sort of, uh, I guess, pumped up offense. Jordan Gannett, running back, has really started to ramp it up in Maction play. About 600 yards through Mac play. He's at 900 yards for the season, so should get over 1,000 yards. That's been pretty impressive. Obviously, Drew Shields on Kent State is someone that we have been high on this season. Again, just tough with his receiving core. His leading receiver is a running back, so that's just not going to get it done. When I see these two teams, I see two defensive lines that can kind of hold their own, and this is one of the games that we foreshadowed here at the beginning, top of the stage. Uh, Gusts up to 30 plus miles an hour tonight in Akron. Steady winds over 14 miles an hour. Should be 30 degrees. I mean, we're looking at an all-time camera pan here. God bless you if you are attending this game. You have a seat at my table anytime you want. If you are at a 30-degree Akron Kent State rivalry game, good God, with 15 to 30 miles an hour winds, unbelievable. So, getting back to the actual stats and analytics, we look at the havoc and defensive line on both teams here. Kent State is ranked against the run in the top 40 in the country in some advanced analytics and total EPA per game. And then when we look at Akron as well, they're going to shine in the run game as well. They can hold up on their own in the pass game. Both teams are going to struggle when it comes to running the ball against these defenses. That's where the strengths lie. So we're going under 47. Find it, get it. We like under 47 in this matchup. For the wagon wheel, I see something like, I see a close game. I see Kent giving them hell. So I could see like a 13 or 17 to 14 final. I think it's a 3-point game. That's why I'm not riding Akron. And if the weather was in our favor, I'd look to get back to that Akron team total because it's 26. So if for some reason there's no wind and I'm just getting lied to at kickoff, look for that Akron team total. All right. Next up, we've got Kalamazoo. We've got the Ohio Bobcats going to Kalamazoo to play the Western Michigan Broncos. This is one of those big matchups that we were talking about at the top of the show. When we look at the max standings here, we are looking at a 6-team race in the second week of November. We've got Ohio, Buffalo, Miami, and Western Michigan, all at 4-1 in the conference. And we have Central Michigan, Toledo, and Ball State. So 7-team race, all at 3-2. So a lot of sorting out going on this week. This is one of the games that we'll have circled. Listen, two teams that are playing well. Obviously, overachieving for what their season was potentially laid out for. A lot of turnover at Ohio. I was down on them. This could be the time where I say hand up. We'll see that Miami game 3-3 at half was looking ugly, but Ohio really showed up. There was a packed stadium. So shout out to the Bobcats and what they were able to show out for last week's midweek Maction. When we talk about the game, you look at two teams that are kind of the antithesis of each other. Ohio's struggled on explosive plays and allowing some points on defense, but Western Michigan, let's just say politely, cannot move the ball on offense when needed, especially through the air. But pretty stout elite defense, not even just MAC terms. They've been pretty solid on stopping everything, keeping scores pretty low here. When I look at Western, their biggest fault is just going to be the pass game, and this game is going to stay on the ground. You got Bangura on Ohio, and then also Navarro being able to move with his legs. I expect some long drives here. Not as windy, but also expected to be very cold in Kalamazoo. I've got, let's see, 32 degrees at kickoff. Oh, it is up to 12 miles an hour wind. That only helps us. I'm on the under here, 46.5 as well. When I look at both teams, they're going to excel against the pass. Western's going to excel against the run a little bit more. This team keeps you in front of them. And when we look at their most recent, I mean, they had an impressive comeback win against Central. They're late, hung in there with Miami of Ohio, completely dominated the lesser teams, and then picking up a win versus Toledo. Very impressive. I see a game script more like the Toledo and the Miami game. I see this game obviously sticking close. I like Western to win overall. I think this game is 20-16. But Ohio's had some trouble in the kicking game, so that's relying a lot on kicking, maybe some 2-point conversions there. We're going with the under. 2 unders on a Tuesday night. Maybe it's good ESPN isn't on YouTube TV right now. What am I kidding? Watch Maction, even if it's 3-0, right? Because we did last week. All right, let's move to Wednesday, where we have a game that is definitely not in that category of movers and shakers for the conference championship. NIU at UMASS. PU. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. NIU's laying 11.5 on the road. Just put up 3 points against Toledo, and they really couldn't do anything. But shout out to Toledo for actually playing like they should. And we were on them minus 14.5. Not scared to lay that big number on a Wednesday night. Boy, there's a lot of purple here if you use some analytics tracking like we do. And purple's not good. Purple is not good. When we look at NIU, they're bottom 3, just about every passing statistic. Last few games, they've been able to compete outside of Toledo. They beat Ball State, put up 21 against Ohio, but Ohio put up 48. 16-10 against Eastern Michigan. Only lose by 11 to Miami of Ohio. Listen, when it comes down to it, I don't really care. This is a Maction principle thing. A team as bad as Northern Illinois is on offense cannot be laying 11.5 on the road. If you look at UMass, there's really not a lot to pull out positive when we talk about this team, other than their ability to defend the run. Uh, Top 25 in defending the run, total EPA. That might be able to keep them in and keep them within this number. That's really what I'm banking on, and really on principle. Just cannot lay 11.5 with what I watched in Northern Illinois this whole season. So I see this more like the Buffalo UMass game where 28-21 was the final. We're taking UMass plus 11.5, as crazy as that sounds. And yeah, the other two games are going on at the same exact time. All three games kick off at 6 o'clock. Get that try box going. Probably not, but a little trick here. If you have Xbox or whatever in the app, ESPN app, there's a multi-view that you can use if you have the ESPN app. That requires paying for their obscene service, but maybe there's a free trial out there. So, yeah, not to get too big into this game. Obviously, it looks like they've kind of moved away from Brandon Rose. AJ Harrison, I mean, the kid's got wheels on UMass, enough for us to feel good with, keeping drives alive. But yeah, if we're relying on this kid's arm, also what I saw last week, we're going to be in trouble. So that's the one I'm most unsure about, but on principle, we'll just move on. All right, next up, we've got, let's see, Buffalo going to Central Michigan, going to Mount Pleasant. And I've got two angles here. I'm going to play one for you. But this is another one where we look at the weather in Mount Pleasant. We are seeing, let's see, 30 degrees. The weather here is right there at 10 miles an hour, 15-mile-an-hour gusts. Buffalo has been the most Jekyll and Hyde team in the MAC, and they've somehow just kept surviving. It is impressive with what they've been able to do so far, but this feels like Cinderella. Shoe is kind of the clock's about to strike midnight, shoe's about to fall, whatever the hell you want to say. I just think Buffalo has just been a fool's gold type team when it comes to the MAC. When we look at what could have been for this team, we look at Taquan Roberson, L.J. Henderson, just not as impressive as they were hyped up to be coming into the season. And that's disappointing. 12-8 split for touchdowns, interception for Roberson. Only 660 yards for Henderson. And that includes a couple games that, they easily could have lost to Kent State and UMass, is what really trips me up. It's one thing for, an explosive, as crazy as that sounds, an explosive type team like Kent State. They have the opportunities to make explosive, not consistently. But to almost lose to them, sure. But then to almost lose to UMass, not like bettering yourselves, that worries me. That worries me. And when we look at these two teams, they're going to, again, rely on defense here. We look at Buffalo being able to limit rush explosiveness, limit early down plays and yards. And when it comes to what they've been able to do, they took care of business for us against BG, lose to Akron in a wacky game, and then they have survived in just about every other game, like I'm talking about. Competed with a Connecticut team that has stunned a lot of the country. If you haven't been following Connecticut, and our boy Joey F. This is the Mac podcast. UConn, come to the Mac. That would be hilarious. Anyway, staying on tilt. Listen, when we look at Central Michigan, impressive season. Obviously, I was on their underestimated this team. They've just been able to continue to win games and lost a heartbreaker to the rival Western last week. That's something that would have pushed this team closer to bowl eligibility. I think this is a bowl eligible team. They just need one more win, and I think they get it here. We're going Central Michigan money line. When we look at the capabilities of where they're going to win, through the air, I think they were able to take advantage of a little bit of a questionable Buffalo pass defense. If there's any way to attack this Buffalo defense, it's going to be a little bit through the air versus the run. And then I think Central has enough gusto to prevent any spark from that Buffalo offense, who really hasn't been able to get anything going. So I would lean the under here, but we're taking Central Michigan money line, minus 118. And that's a big one. That's 4-1 versus 3-2 in the MAC. Finally, the big one, Toledo at Miami. Revenge game for both here. Daquan Finn, Benedict Finn goes to quasi rival. Just from each team being so good in recent years. Toledo played Miami twice 2 years ago. Split the series. They lost when it mattered in Detroit. Won the regular season game. Toledo was able to win 3 years ago as well. And when we look at these two teams, Miami just has not been able to figure it out on offense at all this season. They're just coming off 5 wins in a row against lesser opponents, if we're being honest, before dropping to Ohio. They picked up wins against Western, Eastern, Akron, NIU, Lindenwood. Yeah, point that out on a map for me. They did keep up in a heartbreaker against UNLV, so I will give them that. But listen, Toledo, as we saw last week, when they operate on all cylinders, Tucker Gleason finally came to play. My only concern is watching this team over the years is that they are complete Jekyll and Hyde when it comes to home and away. Toledo has yet to win on the road. They're 0-4 this season, 5-0 at home. Gleason at one point, I think, completed like 12 or so passes in a row. His final stat line last week was 25 of 31, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles. That's the biggest factor. We had Vander Ross with 97 yards through the air. Listen, that's just the factor is what it comes down to is no turnovers from Gleason. This defense should be able to keep Finn in check. I mean, Finn just looks uncomfortable in the pocket. Ohio, who's had trouble getting the quarterback this year, got to Finn multiple times, forced a lot of third down and longs last week. And when we look at Miami and where they're going to struggle, it's going to be against the run, and Chip Trainum's back healthy. Looked explosive last week against probably the only good redeeming factor in Northern Illinois, and that is their run defense. So when I look at both of these teams, my brain would say take Miami at 3.5 because it's Jason Candle on the road. You've seen this so many times. But when it comes down to it, the numbers don't lie. I think this team has gotten fully healthy now. The defense has been solid the entire year, and defense travels. It's going to be cold in Oxford, and you got to take Toledo -3. Taking them -3, -120, -125. Already got them. Just taking that key number. Toledo is the play through and through. Get that going down there. I just think that DeQuan Finn doesn't have enough weapons around him. And Jordan Brunson, I mean, let's see. I believe DeQuan Finn is the leading rusher on the team. Let me double check that here real quick, fact check. But they have not been able to, by 50 yards, Brunson is the leading rusher over DeQuan Finn. But receiving, Cam Perry is a weapon. How about just a cool 26 yards per reception? But Ohio was able to shut him down last week. He did end up getting a reception. He did end up getting a touchdown, but he was completely coated by Ohio. And Toledo has the best secondary in the MAC, one of the best secondaries in the entire country. Heard me right. So that's going to be a big issue right there. Can Miami get anything established on the ground? And if Toledo's able to get a lead, are they able to get anything down the field? And I don't think they will. So that's why I like Toledo -3. Going back to the card here. This is all the midweek Maction. We like Kent State Akron under 47 on Tuesday, as well as Ohio and Western under 46.5 on Tuesday. We like UMASS +11. Plug your nose when you place that bet, +11.5. We got Central Michigan Moneyline -118. We've got Toledo -124 at -3. That's 5 games this week. Also lean the under in Central. 3 unders this week. Shit, I'd lean the under in UMass, Northern Illinois as well. But that's a situation where 2 bad teams could potentially just cough up some bad field position and getting over 42.5. Could be plausible, so I'd stay away from that. Exciting. A lot is going to be figured out this week when we head towards Detroit. I still like Toledo, unbiased here, to at least get to the MAC championship. And I think, let me see here. Let me pull up the odds for you. I believe there's still a decent number, like +3, +350, +600. +600 to get to the MAC championship. If you're going to be tailing me -3.5, that'll knock Miami of Ohio right out of that MAC championship with any sort of tiebreaker situation. And then, Western winning, Central winning, levels playing field. Gonna be good. Gonna be good. All right, folks. Awesome. Thanks for sticking around. All my sickos in the midweek MAC. Have a great Tuesday night, great Wednesday night. Enjoy the MAC unless you're on YouTube TV. YouTube and ESPN, you guys are the devil. Can't believe you're doing this at the most important part of the year. We will never forgive you for this. See you guys for the regular show tomorrow night on YouTube and Thursday on Spotify for week 12. A lot of big games. Bye.